finals time here at DreamHack Open Summer. And opening game number 1, everything is on the line. Up first, Jason Lake's Juggernauts in Complexity colliding with the mighty Danes of Heroic. Question is, who will be heading to the grand finals? Joining me to answer that, of course, the wonderful Potter and Blair. Now, Christine, it's been a long and hard journey for some of these teams to get here, but I am so excited to be kicking this one off.
I'm excited as well. You know, I think this series has a lot of interesting factors coming into it, not to mention just the mechanical skill of all the individuals that we're about to be seeing, but even the map vetoes. You know, we saw Complexity floating Overpass for the first time this tournament, Heroic as well. So I think Overpass coming into this series is going to be a huge contested factor, or maybe not even contested at all. We might even see it not selected and float into that third map category. So there's a lot of factors that make this series really interesting for me.
There is indeed. And of course, we want to hear what you guys are saying down in the wonderful Twitch chat. Make sure you get in your votes in. If you side in with Jason Lake's Juggernauts, make sure you put in hashtag Cole in the chat. If you're more of a Danish TS fan, and you know what, I don't blame you, put hashtag Heroic in the chat as well. Of course, we'll be recapping where the predictions are standing before we jump into this game. But speaking of jumping in, I think we have to start off with the guys from Complexity. And although they've had some close results so far, Blair, I think their form has looked pretty convincing.
Yeah, they've looked like the better team so far in this event, considering the fact that, you know, everyone's coming off the break. And I guess all credit lies to Mr. BlameF, that chunky boy in the middle. He is wide. He barely fitting into that player square over there. He was spending the entirety of the player break watching demos. He was practicing, and he's looking pretty solid. I mean, you have players like Config, like Poison, like Rush, like Obo as well, and yet you're kind of top fragging for your team, being the highest rated player. That's quite a showing while being an in-game leader as well, and I feel like he is leading by example. Of course, can't take anything away from the rest of the team as well. They haven't really been challenged, to be real. They had a 2-0 win against OG. They did lose one map to Fools, which was a 2-1. I think it was a Mirage that went to overtime. But apart from that, they have looked absolutely fantastic, and I feel like the Danes and Heroic, they're gonna have a rough time today here against the Juggernauts.
Indeed. You know what they say about big shoulders, Blair? It means big carry potential. But this team, they don't need carrying, man. Everybody has been stepping up when they've needed to. And I feel like we can't talk about this team, Christine, without talking about Poison. It was there in the highlights reel. That 1v3 clutch with an AWP to close out Nuke against OG, that was phenomenal.
It was phenomenal. And, you know, that's the kind of performance that Poison, he's been consistently bringing across the board throughout this entire week. Poison, he's such an exciting opera to watch, you know. I think he's got the mechanical skills and the decision-making, the brain to make him one of the best operas in the world. So that's the kind of potential that Complexity are working with. And what a luxury to have potentially one of the best operas, one of the best up-and-coming operas in the world on your squad. So certainly things are looking up and up for Complexity, not to mention Config. Man, Config is such a fun player to watch, just spectate. He's one of those players that I think every team kind of needs. He tends to break the rules every now and then, but when he breaks those rules, he makes it look damn good. So it's forgivable. Config, keep breaking those rules.
Well, speak of the devil, and he may appear. We had a chance to catch up with Config ahead of their matchup today.
It's been Complexity, and Poison gets a free kill up towards short. Second as well, so just going to keep going back for more. That's 3 kills.
The first 2 matches we played here, we played against Forsey, and then we played against OG now, and it's always a little bumpy road when you play online tournaments like this and you sit at home, and the other team is also a great team. Heroic is of course up and coming. They've been there for a long time and they can play good. We've seen them play good against a lot of teams. We've seen them beat a lot of good teams, and we're going to beat Heroic because we know that we are the better team. We know that we have the better players. We're going to come in strong and just pick our best map and make them surprised.
He's playing it pretty safe right now, though, giving up the site itself, and Poison comes in with the first, make it a second. Poison snipes him down, slaps him in the face, and gives Complexity a 12th round. Complexity B has been a beast. And the bomb's finally going down. It's a full advantage for OG, and Alexi B finding another kill. 3 being picked up, and it's on Poison to deliver death onto 3, and he's got a second. Oh my god, Poison with a huge play.
Confident words from the man of Config going forward. But I think we do have to quickly recap that game against OG because, Blair, it was very, very close. What were your kind of main takeaways from the Complexity squad from that?
Not much, to be honest. I feel like almost all the teams started off a little slow. Like we saw Big, for example, number one team almost losing their first matchup against Endpoint. But I feel like Complexity, they seem like they seem comfortable. Does that make sense? Like against OG, we're fighting hard, but Complexity were having fun. We saw Confi just tossing in nades inside a bin and overpass. He was just having fun, and they seem very, very confident. So they seem like a team who are ready. Yeah, they had a little bit of a slow start, but Poison waking up, Config having phenomenal moments as well, and BlameF just being this insane hard carry / IGL. They're looking good, and I gotta say, they would be kind of the favorites here, if you ask me.
Yeah, I think that's fair enough. And of course, speaking about the other side of the server, it's going to be the Danes of Heroic. And I think when we talk about Heroic, man, we have always got to talk about Cadian. He's the man that can do it all and has been doing it all so far, Christine. He's really been doing everything to make sure this team succeeds.
Everything. And that's the beauty of Cadian as that in-game leader. He's going to do whatever it takes in the moment to get the W on the board. And that makes him such a clutch player, but such an intelligent player. You know, he has that AWP. If he has to be the player that goes first, he's going to be the player that goes first. So having that sort of dedicated player who's going to be willing to do whatever it takes is certainly a strength for these Heroic guys. And Borup, Stavin, these two youngsters, this deadly duo, I mean, they were fully controlling all of Banana, fully controlling whatever part of the map on any map that they're generally on. And Stavin, he's such a space maker, man. Look at him wielding this op. He's not an opper that we always talk about because that's not his primary weapon, but he's kind of flourishing, he's evolving, he's becoming a deadly sniper as well now.
Yeah, and that dedication has definitely yielded them some incredible results here so far. Obviously, a very convincing 2-0 over Mad Lions, 2-0 win over Endpoint, a loss that was 0-2 to Big, but I think that comes with a bit of a caveat, Suden, that it was very, very close. And here, it was really Tessus and Nico that were stepping up to the plate.
It was a very close series, and we've been talking about all these players so far, and Borup is a player I want to bring up, right? He has looked pretty good so far in this event. He's been kind of middle of the pack, sometimes not having a great game, especially when they're losing, when they're lost against Big. But I feel like if he steps up a little bit more, becomes a little bit more consistent in kind of being like middle of the pack, hanging around with the Nico, with the Tessus, I feel like Heroic would be able to kind of level up a little bit more. And I think that's what we need here heading into this matchup against Complexity. If Borup can be kind of a standout player alongside your Poison and BlameF and Config. Sorry, I'm getting very confused. Alongside Katie and of course Tessus and Nico, I think it would kind of give them a chance.
Yeah, there's too much firepower going into this match, Blair. I don't blame you for getting a little bit confused. And of course,
Danes, they get confusing. Too many things.
Christine, you mentioned the man himself, Stavin. He really, really stepped up to the plate against Endpoint. And of course, we had a chance to chat with him ahead of this one to see how he's feeling.
So going into this DreamHack tournament, we kind of just started practicing again, and we're really glad that we managed to go through the groups. Complexity, I feel like they're a difficult opponent to play against, but like me and BlameF, we played for a long time together in Heroic, so we know each other as well. I know his play style and stuff like that. So I think it's going to be a really interesting matchup, and obviously they have been playing really great lately, but I definitely think that we have a chance to beat them.
How interesting this one really could be, not really what the analyst or myself, for example, was thinking would happen. Tessus, though, under pressure, already opens up with 2, though, not the best of start for the UK land. 20 seconds on the clock as they look to try and make the play for up, just holding strong as he drops 3 kills within a space of a second.
I definitely believe that this roster can go like top 5 for sure. Like I think everyone has like at the individual level to do it. We just need to grind more and play even more and get to know each other better, and I think we can do great things.
Here we go though. Ooh, nice job from Nico as that spot away. The rest of the team make sure they don't take any risks. They want to play this from after plant.
And he's actually going to get flashed. Will he get the first kill? Yes, he does. Can rotate around. Secondary for Star as well. Third one potential. Yes. Ooh. Go on, lad.
Definitely going to be an interesting matchup against Complexity, but I'm sure we're going to take the win.
Confident words from Stavin going forward, but of course we've got to find out what maps this series is going to be played out on. Christine, I'm coming to you. What are your expectations for this one?
Oh man, you know, this is the moment where Heroic have a lot of thinking to do. I'm pretty sure Complexity are going to do the same thing and just float that overpass. We saw that they're willing to play it. Heroic, I'm not so sure. The last series, they were willing to float it, but I think that's because they knew their opponent wasn't going to pick it. This time around, I think Complexity are going to be willing to pick it. Okay, so this is the big question coming up. Is that overpass gonna float? If it doesn't, Complexity should pick out that dust too. Oh, no, it's vetoed out here. Oh man, this is, okay.
That's ballsy.
Mirage and Vertigo. Vertigo, this is going to be such a brawl. I don't know. Have we seen Vertigo this tournament yet? Maybe only once?
It was with Endpoint, right? Like
Yeah,
that was
yeah,
their
yeah.
go-tos, but other than that,
It's been pretty absent. Okay, so overpass
left
will
us
be that
too?
third
Okay.
map. Yeah.
Oh, they
yeah.
banned us too earlier on. Okay, no. Oh, this is weird. Overpass, no one banning it out. They're playing a game of chicken, and no one's dodging, no one's biting. And if it goes to overpass, I'm gonna give the edge to Complexity because remember they baited Force into picking that map against them, and they just kind of won it very, very convincingly. And I don't think I've been very convinced in Heroic's overpass yet so far. That again, it's such a small sample size to work with. I don't know which way this is gonna go. I like it though. I like the fact that both the teams are kind of going at each other, trying to play these mind games, and it should be a fun series.
they are indeed. And speaking of which, we got to get our mind games going on with our predictions. Blair, who are you siding with for this one?
Oh, this is a little tricky. I wasn't very convinced with Complexity's Mirage. Honestly, looking at the map pool, I thought if it's going to be playing out the way I envision it to be, it should be Complexity. But right now, I have my doubts. However, I still feel the Juggernauts will be still a little bit unstoppable. So I'm going to go with Jason Lake and his Merry Men.
What about you, Potter? You echoing the same thoughts?
Oh man, this one's tough. You know, I'm just gonna say that overpass is tricky. Testis on Copenhagen Flames, he loved overpass. I think Heroic have something special planned on that third map. I'm gonna go with Heroic here. I think Complexity are such a huge juggernaut, quite literally. And Heroic on paper, they're not the favorites. That's a fact. But I don't know. Something just tells me Heroic have something incredible planned here for this series.
Well, a little bit of a split desk. This is a really tricky one. I think I'm going to go with Complexity. I do think it will go to the full 3 maps, though. I'm just so convinced about what I've seen from Jason Lake's Juggernauts recently. But we are not done quite yet. We got to see what you guys in Twitch chat are saying. Wow, 71% going with Complexity. Man, there is a clear favorite here, but it is not down and out just yet. And I think with that all said and done, the only thing left to do is kick off map number 1 of Vertigo. Everything is on the line for both of these 2 teams, as only one can claim a spot in the grand finals on Sunday. Will the Mighty Danes continue their tear of form, or will it fall to the Juggernauts? Find out after this.
It's semi-final time here at DreamHack Open. Summer, and it's time to get our hands onto incredible matchups. Only 4 teams remain here in the European side of things. My name's Dinko. I'm going to be joined by Hawker, and we have the luxury of casting these 2 semi-finals. Getting into this first one, Heroic taking on Complexity. This one should be a banger, Alex.
Yeah, I think it'll be a good game. I'm hoping that we get to see Complexity continue to show up. That's the thing I really want to see. But at the same time, Heroic are always a team who are capable of those upsets, right? They've got Cadian in this squad now. They've got Hund in there as the coach. And Vertigo to start things off should be a good one. I love watching Heroic on this map. I hope we get to see more good stuff from them, maybe some new stuff from them. Who knows? We're into the playoffs, so this is where you bring your best Counter-Strike out.
Yeah, definitely. This is where the playoffs should deliver. We get the best Counter-Strike out of the 2 teams trying to make it to a grand final straight out of the player break. Complexity currently with the highest rated player in the tournament in the form of Poison. We'll see if he can keep that up here on Vertigo. Early on, Borup sending his way towards the bottom of the B stairs. Plenty of players here for the T side as well as they gather. Quite a bit of utility available for Heroic.
A little bit of utility for the CTs as well. Rush getting a couple of flashes. Obo's got a nade with his CZ that he's playing up close with. Looks like Heroic are happy to take their time at the start of this early pistol round. Mid-play slowly but surely coming through for them. Rush is playing a pretty safe angle right now. I think if he gets a bit of a fight at mid, he'll probably just back away. And in come those nades from Cadian. Molotov goes down. Rush repositions slightly, but I don't think he's looking to fight this. He's happy to give up mid.
Well, Nico towards the B stairs of the first kill onto Oboe. Config stepping back in and getting a double kill. Suddenly, though, it's Heroic with the man advantage. The bomb plant coming through towards this B site. And it's got to be BlameF and Poison finding their way back in to a B bomb site. They have no utility, Alex. They have no kit for this retake. They have to find these kills extremely quickly. There's a kit right in front of BlameF, so he can pick that up if he runs towards it. And now they have a couple more seconds to work with coming into the retake, but they need this kill quickly. And Poison, he can't afford to go down. The damage is being done, but BlameF is out of there, and Poison will fall as well. It's Heroic with the pistol win. They pick it up relatively cleanly, and they'll be happy enough with that performance. They keep 3 players alive. Not too bad for Heroic.
Yeah, they find a bit of a weakness there at mid, and as soon as you can get up mid like that on the pistol round, the Glocks are in such great shape to just rush onto that B site. Once you start to split that site, it's really difficult for the USPs to get those quick kills. If you have rifles, maybe you can mow them down in that choke point, but with the USPs, it's so difficult to do that. So a nice call, I think, from Heroic to start this off. I love those B splits on the pistol round in particular. It works out for Heroic here. They've got themselves off to a good start on Vertigo. But Dinko, throughout this tournament, I've said it before, I'll say it again, Complexity are so good in these second rounds. You've got to make sure you're on your A game here if you're Heroic.
Oh, Borup getting rid of Poison. And yeah, I agree. You can't really afford to take your foot off the gas at any point, because that's where Complexity are just going to take liberties, take the round wins, and you're going to have a big problem heading your way. Complexity have been very solid in this tournament so far. The most exciting thing about this Complexity team for me, Alex, is the fact that they are getting better as the tournament goes on as well. They're starting to peak later into the tournament, and that's exciting. Config, what? What is that from Config? 3 incredible headshots and a Deagle fourth as well. Oh my god, Config is showing up in the playoffs. Just one more player. It's down in a 1 versus 3. This is unbelievable from Config.
How do they do it every time, Dinko? Every time, these second rounds, Complexity at least make them close. And Config wants the ace here. I don't blame him. Give him the ace. Go on, son.
If I'm down, I just drop my weapon, accept my fate. Just give him this ace. This is incredible from Config. He walks forward, 20 seconds left in this timer. Config, the front man, they're letting him try everything to try and connect all 5 kills, and he's gonna go and get it. Config, all 5 to start off the playoffs. Into the second round. Complexity, they will be picking up the force by win. This is ridiculous. You have to see this again from Config. The first, the second, it's a conveyor belt of death for Config. He just takes down player after player.
Yeah, Config's just sheer mechanical aim is unbelievable. He's one of the best players in the world, just in that aspect. I've said it earlier, even when Config wasn't on a top team, and some people kind of laugh at you when you say that, but you see rounds like that, it's clear that Config is just one of the best aimers. He's so good with the digs. I'm going to bring up the stat again, Dinko. 51% of those second round wins for Complexity when they go for those 4 spies in the second round after losing the pistol. They're keeping true to that stat. And, well, if you were still in bed, I think that's woken you up. If you were still kind of half asleep this morning, Config has just given you a reason to wake up, I think it's fair to say. Now it's Heroic's turn, Dinko. Let's see what they can do with the Deeks.
I mean, still going towards that A-bomb side. Config's here this time with an AK-47, so... Okay. Okay, that's a good start from Borup, just taking Config away. The Deagle headshot. Config getting a little taste of his own medicine. And the man advantage picked up for Heroic as they now swarm the A-bomb sides. BlameF through the smoke that connects the kill onto the head of Tessus. But the bomb plant, it's coming in here for Heroic. They get it down. They're looking good. Cadian falls away into a good post-plant position. They've managed to pick up an AK as well, and it's in the hands of Nico. He can hide behind the sandbags, and now Heroic, they're just going to be holding their positions in this post-plant. Complexity, they don't exactly have the greatest weapons for this retake either, if you take a look. Better than Heroics, but still, they've got the post-plant, they've got the bomb down, and they've got that early kill, and the kills keep on coming. It's Nico with another on the AK, Borup on the Deagle, and Alex, you called it out. It was Heroics' time to show up with the Deagles, and they go and do it.
getting that first kill onto Config makes a big difference as well, because as you were saying, he could have denied them there. He could have shut them down and got multiple kills from that angle. With how he was aiming in the earlier rounds, that was a possibility. Blame F doesn't pull the trigger at the end there. It's all good, though. He stays alive. He carries over the AK. And there is a fair bit of money on the Complexity side, at least in the hands of Config. We'll wait and see what they decide to do with it, because Heroic have taken an early tactical timeout. And honestly, I don't mind that, Dinko. I think we all need a bit of a breather after some of these early rounds. We all need to get ready for what we've got ourselves in for here in this semi-final, because if it's going to continue like this, we're going to have fun.
Oh, definitely. The playoffs is delivering already. We see Config showing up 7-2. This is nuts from him. It's more up. Out of the 8 kills that Complexity have, Config has 7 of them, Alex. That's ridiculous. Obviously, he is helping out a little bit, obviously, but we get to this next one, Heroic. It'll be AK-47s for 3 players, like Galil for Cadian, and an MP9 for Stown. Plenty of utility, but the forced buy investment for Complexity coming in. They have an AK-47 in the hands of Blim F. He managed to carry over from the previous. The op-out for Config, MP9 for Rush, and Deagles on the rest, as the op goes into the hands of Poison after the initial Config peak. Right, doing some investigating into mid and B, and Cadian gets the kill up on the boost. That leaves this B site fairly vulnerable now from these angles, but Obo lands the headshot with the Deeg. Again, you can never count Complexity out of these rounds. Oh, this time though, Obo has been caught by Nico, so Heroic back to a 3v3. Again, those guns are still in play for Complexity. They've still got that AK. They've still got that AWP. So Heroic have got to be careful here, but they've still got plenty of time on the clock. One of the problems for them could be the fact they don't really have any nades left. Just the one Molotov for Tessus. But as long as Heroic stick together, they should be able to use their strength in numbers here. The exciting part for Complexity there is they probably could have been in a huge advantageous position right now, because Obo, he had the lineup onto Tessus. He was doing the damage. If Nico wasn't there, that's another kill for Obo. Complexity then stands in a huge advantage. So Heroic getting off to a pretty lucky start in this round, to be honest. Sandy now comes down to this battle. Blim F is going to take the kill. Cadian going down. Oh, well, this is not the start that Heroic were looking for. They're starting to lose players. Poison, he's not going to miss those shots. Tesla's going down, and Nico realizes it's a 1 versus 3. Has to commit to the bomb plant. Secures the extra money at a minimum, but now he looks for the last 3 remaining players. They're going together. 2 crossing into the open. He'll take Rush's kill on the MP9 to result in a round win for Complexity. They'll be tying things up 2-2, and that's the force buy win for Complexity across the board. Well, we're going back and forth, Dinko. Neither side able to string rounds together at the start of this game. I think this is kind of a good summarization of both of these teams as well, what I'm expecting to see from them. Complexity largely relying quite a lot on their individuals, but they've got some good team play as well. I just think the difference between these two teams is probably the firepower. I think Complexity have a big edge in that aspect, and already Poison landing a leg shot onto Tessus there. Not quite getting the kill, but certainly coming close. Flame still sitting on the backside of this smoke. CT Molotov goes down, and Flame F is just having a look to see if there's anyone here he can find. Nade won't be doing any damage onto Tessus, who's on the other side of the wall. So Heroic keep all 5 alive. They've got themselves the 1 AK into this round alongside a couple of Galils. And the Danes starting to move back towards the B side, where Obo hasn't been tested too much in these recent rounds. Yeah, he's only really got involved in the action from a memorable point of view one time, and did well to find one. Probably could have got 2 kills from it, but now they are tested. Obo and Rush playing together. First kill from Obo, the second as well. Oh, wow. Okay, Obo, 3 kills, shutting them all down. Tessus falling after 1 kill. He eliminates Obo at least, but going down very quickly afterwards. Complexity with 3. That's the kind of round you want from Obo up against the lower tier buy. He just shuts them down, cuts through them, and delivers another for Complexity.
Yeah, just playing that advanced position where he can quickly work between those two angles, and he knows that he has Rush behind him to watch the left side. So as soon as he gets the first kill on the players pushing up the stairs, he just focuses on the right side of that spot. Good work there on the B hold from both of those Complexity players, and Obo's clearly feeling it, pushing all the way down the stairs. They're not ready for him. Nico gets caught out early. It is only Glocks in this round, so should be easy pickings for Complexity. And Obo clearly wants to pad those stats, really going for it, as well as Blame F. Complexity are not wasting time on this anti-eco.
Well, Tessa's around the corner, just sitting with the Glock. Shouldn't really be much of an issue right now for Blame F as they start to peek in towards him. They'll go one by one. He's got Poison as well to assist from his blind spot. And that works out perfectly for Complexity. So much map control. They've got the bomb now in their hands, smoking it off as well. If there was any hope for even a bit of damage, it's probably falling out of their hands right now for Heroic. Complexity dealing with these lower tier buys and ecos very well. And will be Complexity up to 4th. Now, I feel a little bit bad for Heroic. I feel like they've had a better opportunity than what they've been able to work with here. Probably could have been in the lead substantially, but Complexity, 2 force buy wins really has put them in this position. And now they're 2 into the lead, and we're getting a buy back in for Heroic. It's just going to be the AK-47s across the board with enough utility. Not exactly optimal, but good enough. And as you go into the next round here, Heroic, they need to win this round if they want to continue to have this back and forth at the start of Vertigo.
Hopefully we'll get into some of these more standard gun rounds now. We've got the AKs out for Heroic. This is where I think Heroic will be more confident here. And oh, never mind. Blame F gets the spray on the edge of the smoke. I was hoping for Heroic's sake that they could survive early, that they could just have this default to begin the round and then start to set up their plays. But Blame F takes that away from them. Pushing down into the ramp. And this ramp control is starting to look pretty good for Complexity in some of these recent rounds. Poison and Blame F between them have been a real nuisance in that position. And even though Heroic have got themselves towards the B stairs, the CTs are pretty well prepared for this right now. Conflict's even going to go forwards at mid, and he lands a dink, but not the kill onto Stown. So Heroic turn it back into a 4v4. And Obo's continuing to play up close there. Heroic, though, still undecided.
Oh, Borup. It comes down to whether or not he can find Poison. He spots the barrel on the head over the top. An easy kill for Borup. It's the Bulgarian sniper out of things. And Blame F now, well, a lot of pressure on his shoulders. And Molotov from Gideon's about to clear out his position. He has to smoke it off, and he's thrown the smoke too early. Oh, that is horrible for Blame F. Oh, that is just a nightmare scenario. And now there's an opening to the A-bomb site. This is just a round that Complexity will always want to forget. Unless Rush can step up and conquer every single player. It's the first going down. The bomb plant has to be cancelled. They know that Rush is there. They're going to try and plant on the safe side of the boxes. It's going to work for Rush. He's still alive. Gideon is low, so now 2 versus 2. Rush might do enough here to try and win their team the round, but Gideon, instead of cowering in the bomb site, he gets aggressive and he takes down Rush. And that should be enough to win the round. Obo on 12 HP, having to flee the scene, and it's Heroic. With a little bit of luck going their way, I have to say, Alex. Everything was looking good for Complexity. Good kill from Borup taking down Poison. That was the start of the thread being pulled. And Complexity's defense crumbles. And you can see that back behind the sandbags, Blame F knew this Molotov was coming. He throws the smoke preemptively, but it bounces. And it goes a little too far. The Molotov doesn't get rid of, and it just burns him away. Oh, that's a horrible scenario.
Yeah, he got a little bit ahead of himself there, unfortunately. And then Rush was in a pretty good position to buy time and to slow things down once he got that 1 kill. The problem was that Obo was just a bit too far away to be able to help. Because they've only got 2 CTs alive, they're playing pretty far removed from each other. So if Obo arrives a bit sooner there, then maybe he can get that flank through. Maybe he can catch some players focused on Rush's position. But Rush just ends up getting cleared out of that short spot. So Heroic are able to get themselves a 3rd round on the board. Pretty good start to this game from Borup in terms of frags. He's actually bottom of the team for ADR somehow, despite being the top fragger. But he's got a couple of early kills for the team. He's someone that was pointed out on the desk as maybe being a bit quiet for Heroic at times so far in this tournament. But but it is his role oftentimes to go in first and to take some of those more difficult roles on this Heroic squad. So seeing him get some early kills is a positive sign for the Danes. Let's see if they can keep it up here into round 8, because they're still up against a buy. Complexity with the full buy on the board, and this A-ramp fight is set to continue. There is a slight gap which Cadian is trying to work with. Complexity have 3 players stacked here, though, so it won't be an easy feat for Heroic to get this control.
Ooh, Config getting rid of Borup. Man advantage opened up early on. Like I said, Borup has been the key to open up a lot of these rounds, and it's all falling apart here for Heroic. They've lost 3 players in a few seconds. Kill from BlameF, Config, and Poison has probably just delivered a round win for Complexity. Stown needs this kill, and he'll get it in towards middle. Rush going down, but still so many other players that they have to find, and the bomb not in their possession. It's not a winnable scenario right now for Heroic. This is done unless Nico can do anything. Okay, Obo. He's more focused towards construction when he knew Stown was in middle, but that moment of opportunity was delivered to Nico to get close to the B-bomb site. But again, this is looking good in terms of the kills to being able to get Alex, but you also have to consider they don't have the bomb, and there's 40 seconds left. They have to walk into the Lion's Den, and there's so many players watching that bomb right now, so Heroic need to consider their economy right now. Is it worth going and throwing away these rifles and the utility you've got in the hands of Nico, or do you just save on over into the next round? Well, the time being a little bit of factor, they have to.
Yeah, they got a couple of 1v1s to begin with, right? Because they caught the players who weren't towards the bomb, but now you know you're just running into crossfires. It's going to be really tricky to overcome this. The AWP Poison is here. You've got a couple of rifles locking down the bomb as well. So unless Nico used those nades really effectively or just predicted the positions, it was always going to be a tough time getting that bomb back and then trying to get to a bomb site. There was just so much to do there for Heroic. So a couple of kills allow them to get a pretty comfortable save. Problem is for Heroic, the rest of the team can't really have a great buy around these 2 saved guns. You can already see Borup buying down with all his money, only gets a Deeg, and the same can be said for the rest of the players. So Heroic get good nades. It's the weaponry that's a problem, and the run boost. No! See you, Nico.
You love to see the attempt, but yeah.
You know what's about that is the AK falls off the map as well. That's gone. You're not getting that back.
Oh, that's awful. Heroic are one of the teams you generally see that kind of stuff working out for. They're a team that love that run boost. Doesn't work this time, though. You know, I guess in this kind of round, you need something like that. A crazy play or a little bit of a gimmick to try and give you some sort of advantage. It's worth the risk, but it doesn't pay off. And now BlameF, he's playing behind the sandbags this time. He's not going to throw a smoke. Instead, he's going to take a fight. It's going to work out for 1 kill, but Borup answered back on the Deagle. Right back into a situation where it still is the 1-man advantage in play for Complexity. But Heroic have taken so much damage on board. Cadian's down to 14, Borup on 33. They've only got the 1 AK in play. They were handed a man deficit at the beginning of the round by losing Nico. So this is always going to be an uphill battle for Heroic.
Flash pops over the top, and they can close the distance onto the site itself. Molotov goes down from Complexity. Oh, the smoke's faded. It finally goes back to second smoke deployed. Or faking out that plant to begin with, and Complexity continuing to just bide their time here. Finally, Borup tries to get the bomb down, but Poison just bangs him through the box. And now Heroic are in trouble. I don't think there's any way they're getting anything out of this. Nice shot from Poison, clearly knowing his angles. Obo cleans up the final kills. And Heroic have to take another low buy. And the start of this game has just not gone according to plan for Heroic. They haven't really been able to get into the gun rounds that early on. Even that run boost not working out for them, Dinko. It definitely feels like Complexity are the ones in the driver's seat right now.
Well, the Molotov burning at the bottom of the B stairs. It's Config that gets rid of Nico. And a lot of damage being inflicted upon Stown and Borup. Stown down to 19, Borup 80. Now BlameF walks forward. You've got Testis around the corner here with the Deagle. And BlameF is going to walk forward. A chance here, but Testis with the headshot gets rid of BlameF. And now 4 versus 4 in play with Heroic Currently walking around the corner with a little bit of a boost to try and elevate Borup's position to give him the advantage. But the flashbang, it's absolutely perfect. And Config is going to find 2 kills. And Heroic have just lost every chance of doing a little bit of damage even into this round. Tessa should fall to that HE grenade. And there it is. Just kidding. Now the last remaining player. And Poison, he's always going to re-peek. He's that one AWPer that you know, if there's a chance to re-peek, if he's not dead, he's going to keep peeking. He's going to keep taking kills as well until you shut him down. And Cadian, he's done a little bit of damage onto Config now, but the pressure certainly mounted with that Molotov. They're not pushing him. They don't want to give him a single extra kill here. It's just waiting before he comes around the corner. He's just going to hold that ult down, and there's the kill. Well played from Complexity. Good shutdown again. Config with 3, really adding to the tally. 11 and 4. 10 and 5 on Obo. He's had a good performance as well. He had a couple of those shutdowns in towards the B bomb site. And Poison stepping up when required upon him with that AWP as well. So, Complexity. 7-3 up now. Heroic are definitely struggling. We'll see if they can turn that around coming into this gun round.
I don't think we're going to be seeing that run boost again anytime soon. And, oh, Config on the mid fight early. Only gets 1 kill for his troubles. Tastas rounds the corner for the trade. Rush is still sitting at close mid, while Obo also thinks about helping his teammate out, actually leaving the B site to be in a position where he can help Rush. But Rush is now reclaiming that mid control alongside Obo. The CTs have left B wide open here to focus on pushing through mid, and that might be the right read. If they can get a flank going, that can make all the difference in this one.
Ooh. Rush has got a lot of info here. Coming down the bottom of the ladder, it comes down to whether or not he can catch Katie, who has his knife. The timing, they don't see each other. What? Okay, Katie finally going down. That was so awkward. He was about to pull the rifle. Oh, I can just imagine the fear in Gideon's eyes right there when he's seen Rush coming around. It's just unfortunate he doesn't have his AK out. If he has a gun out, Rush is dead. But 4 versus 3, nonetheless, it goes in favor of Complexity in terms of the player count. But the bomb has been planted over towards B. Heroic have a chance to win this. The last 2 remaining players have utility. They're also 100 HP on every single player. So Complexity, they've got hard work ahead of them. They have to get back into this B bomb site. They're taking their time. They also have utility, but no Molotovs to flush these positions out. And Rush is going to be caught. Poison getting the kill back in. It's a 2 versus 3, and Borup, there's a lot on his shoulders right now. He's the front player, the first pillar of support for this post plant, and he falls to Poison. It's just Nico left alone, tossing the Molotov onto the site, burning away the diffuser. BlameF has to change position. Into the smoke he goes, and the kill comes in from Obo, and just enough time. Milliseconds in it, nearly pulling it off as Nico, but it's Complexity stealing it away from their hands.
Yeah, they must have thought the molly was enough there. I do wonder if Tessus needed to go for that fight quite so soon as well from behind the generators, because you see that Borup was just kind of waiting and watching the left side of it. I think Tessus might be better served just sitting back and waiting to maybe have his teammate help in there, because going for the solo fight, yeah, you get the 1 kill, but that's not really what you need in that post-plant position. You mainly want to be buying time. You mainly want to be trying to work with your teammates. And, well, it comes down to milliseconds at the end there for Complexity, but they just about get their 8th round over the line. At least Heroic can still buy. At least Heroic brought that round close, but we need to see round wins here from Heroic as BlameF continues his aggression. Cadian's able to trade this time out. And Config going for more. The spray successful. He almost gets the follow-up. Dink lands onto Cadian, who doesn't want anything to do with Config right now.
I just want to say, Alex, this Complexity are looking so scary. This is one of the best Complexities we've seen in the tournament. They're really peaking as they get later into these tournament stages. And right now, everybody is showing up. We've got Config delivering to the level we know he's capable of. BlameF on those entry abilities, taking those first kills on the CT side. Poison hitting the shots required of him. And Obo, just this consistent anchor over towards the B bomb site. It's incredible to see such a young player do such a good job in these kind of roles, which has a lot of... It's kind of boring, right? I mean, when you're an anchor, it is one of those positions where you're just sitting there and your job is to be a rock. Take down the players over and over again, get that consistent kill, and not make too many mistakes. And it's quite incredible that Obo is so good at that role at such a young age. And now it's Cadian left alone. into 1 versus 4. Across the board, everybody from Complexity fragging. It's just Rush who hasn't found a kill just yet, and it's Poison that secures victory of a 9th round for Complexity. And what was looking like a close back and forth affair at the start of this map, Alex, has quickly turned into a Complexity landslide.
Yeah, it's definitely got out of hand here for Heroic, who are now 9-3 down on their map pick of Vertigo. As you were pointing out, just a fair few of the Complexity players showing up. I think the thing you were saying about Obo as well, the fact he's so young and he has so many of these qualities that you normally put with experienced players, like the patience, like the consistency on these spots. He's doing a great job right now on this Complexity roster. And he almost turns some of these anchor positions into seemingly star roles, where he's getting a lot of kills from them, which is kind of incredible. It's pretty rare to have a player that can do that.
Oh, definitely. I mean, he's definitely doing such a good job. Generally, when they come towards the B-bomb site, we've seen it already 2 times out. He's been able to take down 2 or more players. And that is just nuts. Heroic with the pistols. And again, in towards middle. Execute coming through. Smokes up, Molotov's in. Rush, he hasn't really seen a whole lot of action so far on the server. His time to shine. Oh, God, he gets to a little bit long-winded, but he shuts down 3 big plays. Config backs him up as well. It's just Cadian left alone.
250, trying to find an awkward angle so that he can maybe get gifted a gun. I think it's worth sticking around here. Complexity is so confident right now that they have been taking a bunch of fights. So there's definitely a chance that someone strays into Cadian's crosshair, but that drop down is ill-advised. Gives away his position, gives the kill to Obo. It's also worth mentioning that Config had not been quiet in this tournament, that he hadn't really had a series where he fully took over like we know he's capable of. And I think against Heroic is the perfect time for him to do it, because he knows that he's going to be one of the most skilled players on the server here. He's played with some of these Heroic players before. He's played within the Danish scene. I think he's going to be very confident in this sort of matchup, knowing that he can just take fights against these players. We've seen some highlight plays from him already, and now we see a gun round from Heroic. This time the ramp control looking much better for them. They've lost this at times, and this time Config is the man who loses out. Good kill from Borat, and maybe Heroic can set up some of their plays now that they've got this control and the man advantage.
Well, BlameF getting rid of Borat. Poison as well. Nico in with a headshot. It's a 3 versus 3. 1 minute and 20 still left on this clock. Rush pulling himself back away from the A-bomb side. It's a more passive setup, but Stown, keep an eye on Stown right now. He's been very quiet so far, but this is exactly the kind of positions where his playstyle is vivid. He can get into these spots where they lose track of him, and he's gathered so much info towards B. That should call the rotation from the rest of his team to come over to this B-bomb site, and that's going to save the round for Heroic, save their chances in this one. And Stown, his work's not done yet. He could still find impact. If he can get a kill here, that's going to certainly turn things around. That's a big kill onto Obo. And now BlameF coming through the elevator has to be aware that Stown could be in CT, but he's not ready for that angle. Stown with a big play into the round. They lost track of him, and he gets so much info and finds important kills for his team, and a 4th round picked up for Heroic. Complexity kind of lose track of everything that was going on there. Completely stack over towards the A site.
Again, I think a lot of Heroic rounds come back to getting that ramp control to begin with. Once they get that A ramp control, they can go back towards B and turn it into a B-sided play. But in so many of these rounds, they've been denied that ramp control. Complexity has been really annoying in that spot. They've been really good at getting aggressive and just taking this part of the map away. But this time around, BlameF's been caught early. Over the top of the smoke, Cadian was ready for the angle this time round. And that's a position that BlameF has been playing a fair few times. So a nice adaptation there for Cadian to get himself the opening kill. It's still Config able to push down in towards the ramp, though. Even when Complexity are losing players, they're gaining ground, they're gaining map control, and they're gaining information that could prove very valuable, because you can already see that nade that Obo's put down the B stairs has been able to do damage to a couple of players. And even though Heroic were thinking about lining up this B play, looks like they're now having second thoughts. Can they clear Config?
Oh, Config, the timing is absolutely perfect. Gets 1 kill. Realizes falling back is probably the right call, but I thought he was just going to tuck behind the corner. Instead, goes back into the open, and that cost him his life. That's going to keep the advantage in play for Heroic. Poison positioned over towards short. Now, this is risky. He's got so many angles to worry about, but as Poison, of course, he'll get one. On falls, but Nico is there to trade, and that's doubling up, working out. But Obo trying to deny the bomb plant. Rushes with the nade kill onto Borg. Still a 2 versus 2. The post plant is here for Heroic. They're looking for the last round of the half. 10-5. It won't be the worst outcome for Heroic, but they've still got to try and chime it together. The bomb taking away inside of the site. Nico looking for a gap, but he knows he has to swing now. The defuse coming through. Tessa's moving forward. Too slow. The spray at Complexity. Steal it away. It's 11 rounds posted at the half. We'll see if Heroic can bounce back as he go into the second. Complexity with a dominant first half lead. 11-4. The Juggernauts certainly living up to the name as we head into the second half. Heroic have a lot of work to do, Alex, and they have to live up to their name.
Absolutely. Pistol round is kind of important at this point for Heroic. If they want to get a good start here, if they want to have a chance on their map pick, this would be very helpful for them. Molotov and Smoke going into that construction position, and Stown is completely run down. Good kill from Config on the Glock, and the pace continues from Complexity. Nico gets one, but he's instantly traded, and Complexity aren't giving Heroic any breathing room here.
Well, Testis taking down Obo. It's a 2 versus 3 advantage for Complexity with a bomb planted. And Heroic desperately need this pistol round. If not, Complexity up to 12. They'd then be only 4 rounds away from taking map number 1. And Vertigo It's a map that Heroic desperately needed to win. I think Mirage is going to be a real difficult challenge for them. Rush with a clean tap just out to the left side, shutting down Gideon. And now Tester's trying all he can, but he can't win the round at this point. It's all about the damage. And I don't think he'll be even able to do much of that. Rush runs over the top. Tester's under pressure. They've won the round already, Complexity, so they're happy with the roll. But now it's just Tester's diving around, trying to at least take a few players away. But it's the 12th round for Complexity. They now are only 4 away from victory. And right now, it's hard to see a way in which it doesn't happen, Alex.
I get to see some nice aim from Testes at the very least. I'm trying to find positives, Dinko. I'm trying to find positives. It's not easy right now if you are a Heroic fan. But hey, if you're a Dane and you're watching at home, at least you can be happy for Config and BlameF, who've been playing great. Heroic have still got a force buy though, so maybe this is their chance to do something. Tags exchange. Cadian doesn't actually take the full brunt of it though. Must have been through the wall. So he's only down to 59 health. Oh, and there we go. The nade is nicely lined up from Nico. The scout tag, it does make the difference at the start of the round. Heroic getting themselves going at the start of this force buy.
Oh, well, Cadian, he has 32 HP left, and Stown is going to get 1 kill as Rush going down, and now 5 versus 3, a 2-man advantage in play for Heroic. And Config, he'll start to walk up around the corner, test this. Oh, he's going to find the kill. Config going down in the smoke. That's the first of, or the third of many, as it seems to be right now for Heroic. Obo and BlameF, they're the last 2 standing players, and this is exactly what Complexity did to Heroic in the first half, but BlameF trying to fight back. It's still recoverable here. If Obo can get another, he moves forward with the AK. He needs to pick up Nico, and he's going to do exactly that. He moves forward for another one. Obo just snapping heads right off, and BlameF's going to do the same. It's all on board. Switching out to the AK, but he's taking damage. He's down to 40, and BlameF secures it. 13-4 Complexity. Everything was looking rough. A 5 versus 2, just BlameF and Obo left alone, but they show their sheer ability to play Counter-Strike. They take it back, and they steal this round away.
Such a star-studded roster on this Complexity side. You put any of these players in 2v5s, you probably give them a chance of winning it, to be honest. And there we go, it happens for them. Again, I love watching Obo play, getting those crisp headshots onto the site. He's already proving that he is a top player right now. And Heroic have to sit back and go for the save in this one. A very sad save at that.
Yeah.
Maybe Cadian can get a Zeus kill. That could inject some life into them.
I don't think it's going to be enough life. I don't think there is enough life in this world, Alex, to get Heroic back into things here at this
They
point.
just need to get shocked back into action.
Yeah, maybe. Defibrillator style.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, we have seen crazy comebacks before, but with the way Complexity are playing right now, it's going to be a very difficult road. And well, Nico, oh my god, that is awful. Sits there for so long, a full minute just with his CZ out. As soon as they come around the corner, switches to the knife. That's one of those moments where you just punch your monitor.
I hope he hasn't punched his monitor.
No, maybe not. I don't see Nico as the kind of guy to do that. Well, I would forgive him. I mean, that is just awful. But here we go. Can Gideon get it? Oh, there we go, Alex. He gets the Zeus kill at least. That's something. And he's going to try for a little bit more. Didn't get the AK. But it's 14-4 for Complexity. Everything just working out for them. And everything that could go wrong for Heroic seems to be going wrong.
I mean, Cadian's the kind of guy that might try and hype up his team off that Zeus kill. I think they'll at least try and have a little fun with it. You know, try and take the pressure off maybe.
But I also feel like Gideon is so emotional that right now he's probably just very disappointed in the performance. So I don't really know how it would be going right now for Heroic. But I can definitely see that happening. And Config, well, he's got a good start. This is such an important round for Heroic. They lose this one, it is done here in Vertigo. And Borb, an important kill, just dances out from behind quad. Taking down Obo. And our second kill onto Config. This is a huge step up from Borb.
Solid work from him. Repositioning. Back on the B site. Finding that second angle. 2 separate kills on different fights for him. Still got a fair few of the stars alive for Complexity. Rush has also been putting up some numbers in this game, so any of them could get these kills. And in comes the boost for the AK of BlameF. clearing out a few of the angles, but he's going to have to wait for that smoke to fade before he even gets close to a fight. 55 seconds, still plenty of time here. The Molotov for the close angle, but Borup's playing far back. They still have a second molly, which could have been deployed there, but BlameF was the man who had it in his hands. He's going to molly quad instead, and they've cleared out a few of these spots now, so Borup's position should be one of the more likely ones playing at the back of the site.
35 seconds left. Testis holding on. He's got Borup to back him up. Another push comes through. It has to be a good hold here from Heroic. They can't afford to crumble, and the spray is through. It's BlameF with one poison. Okay, right through the box. Domes Borup. And now 2 versus 2 with 20 seconds left. Rush has assumed position. Poison securing the bomb plant. And what was looking so good for Heroic might just fall through their fingers yet again. Complexity are incredible at pulling back these rounds. And okay, another shot from Poison lands him, but it's not dead until he walks into the crosshair of Rush, who needs the final kill, and that's exactly what he's gonna go and get. Complexity, everyone is showing up. Rush, we usually look at him as the support player, the supportive element within this team, because they have so much firepower. But even Rush is showing up. Even Rush is having the moments in the clutch. And this is a scary Complexity. This is looking like a Complexity that can win this tournament.
Yeah, they're just stone cold killers right now, every single one of them. Rush waiting at mid. Oh, good angle. Jumped up on that position. Just a slightly different angle that Nico was really ready for. And 4 more kills are all that are required for Complexity to win on Heroic's map pick, for what it's worth. Complexity have Mirage coming up next, which is a map they always love to pick into. I think with how they're playing individually right now, it's going to be suiting them. We're not painting a pretty picture for Heroic right now, unfortunately, Dinko.
No, it's not a pretty picture at all, because they've run
it's
out
almost
all
like I drew the picture, because I'm a terrible artist.
Like trying to follow a Bob Ross tutorial. And
I want to do that one day. I want to try it. I know I'd be bad, but I want to give it a go.
I mean, good luck in what config. Take you down, Test. It's a good opening headshot. A follow-up this time from Rush, though, in config. I think this just summarizes how this is going for Heroic. They're just getting out-dueled in every front. Complexity dominant in the first map. It's 16-4. Complexity showing up with a Juggernaut-style performance, and they're looking poised for that grand final spot. Going to the next map, it is Mirage, a map that Complexity have always been comfortable on, and one that I don't really think Heroic will be able to compete. Just based on that first performance, it seems to be a very poor matchup in terms of the individual ability. I'm not really excited moving forward for Heroic. I think this one might be done, Alex. And I think that's a negative way of looking at things, but it's just realistic.
Yeah, I think if I were Heroic right now between these maps, maybe I'd try and go and do a Bob Ross painting. Nice and relaxing. Keep yourself calm, because that's a rough first map to overcome. Your own map pick, you kind of get wrecked, but Mirage is a map that Heroic aren't bad on by any means. We know that Cadian as an AWPer can be pretty aggressive at times. It can suit them. It just needs to be a complete turnaround individually.
Well, luckily for them, they have a short break to try and talk about some of the issues that went on in Vertigo, but that's exactly where we're going. A short break, and then we'll be right back with the panel to break this one down.
We began with Heroic's map pick, but Complexity proved why they're nicknamed the Juggernauts. 16-4 from Jason Lake's men, and with that, they're 1-up going into map number 2 of Mirage. Vertigo was a map that Heroic desperately needed, but Blair, sometimes the firepower of Complexity, it is just way too much.
And what's so impressive for me is a kill spread, right? Like if I'm just opening up the scoreboard, which should be showing up on the screens very quickly as well. We had Config top frag in 21, then Obo, Rush, and Poison 17, 17, 16, and BlameF on 13. But BlameF was so instrumental in being aggressive and just this vulgar display of power coming out from Complexity. They were pushing ramp, they were pushing together in tandem, they were pushing B towards the B stairs as well. They were just choking, just asphyxiating Heroic, and they had no space to work with. The only option they seemed to have on the T side was maybe trying to come out towards mid, work mid, but that felt like a desperation play because they didn't have the right protocols. They kept getting picked apart by Oboe, by Rush, by Config, who was looking absolutely unplayable at times. And I gotta say, this was if this is what we're going to be seeing from Complexity, I don't know what the Heroic's going to do. It's not just about a firepower. They were getting completely outplayed on their map pick. Now they can play Mirage, but I don't know. I'm not feeling so positive for them at the moment, Freya.
It was absolutely brutal to see, and I really want to go back to that because I know, Christine, we were talking about the importance of that A ramp control way back when we saw Endpoint doing this exact same thing, having that aggression, having that presence. It was so important for them. And then looking on the side of Complexity, man, that is where they won so many of those CT rounds.
Yeah, it is. And when Sudan said asphyxiating, I totally felt that because that's exactly how Heroic were feeling throughout that entire thing. And Freya, when you mentioned that A ramp, that was exactly it, because you saw the individuals on Heroic trying to run that default. We saw Nico and we saw Stavin consistently trying to make some sort of a lurk, some sort of a default happen. Nico found zero success finding that pick onto Oboe towards that B, and Stan, he had one moment where he actually made that lurk work and converted around. But for Heroic side of things, they just couldn't handle any of the duels that Complexity were throwing their way.
Yeah, normally that's what's so scary, is that they can make it work, especially that duo, right? They're so good at being able to get some presence. But here, it just didn't look like it. And I think we really need to point out Config, because I believe he finished or close to 114 ADR from that series. He looked so aggressive, and Sudan, he is so damn scary when he can pull off stuff like that.
Yeah, I mean, like we've always known Config can do this, and we've seen him have his ups and downs over his career, but he seems to have found his home. He seems to not just be aggressive. Look, that's just ridiculous.
Oh my God.
It's obscene. And this is a round, they were winning rounds where they shouldn't be winning. These 4 spies walking out. It was looking a little back and forth initially, I won't lie. I'm like, all right, maybe a 9-6 scoreline the first half, but then Complexity woke up, and that's the thing with Juggernaut. When they start moving, it's kind of hard to stop them, and that's exactly what happened here.
Well, going forward, it's of course going to be Complexity's map pick up next. It's going to be Mirage, and I love that Hawker pointed out, it's not a map that Heroic are necessarily bad on, but I'm wondering from your point, Christine, they've just lost their map pick, 16-4. What on earth are they going to be doing coming into this one?
Oh, it's going to be tough, right? It's going to be totally tough. But Mirage, as you mentioned, Heroic, it's one of their comfort picks. It's in fact a map that they actually pick out in a lot of their series, especially as of late. Now, they did have a pretty close affair on this Mirage versus Endpoint, which if we just do scale for scale Endpoint Complexity, it's quite a bit different opposition. So Heroic, they've got to step up. I mean, I hate to say it, but you got to be able to headshot. You got to be able to win some of your rounds, or some of your duels rather, in order to set yourself up further for a little bit later on into the round. So for Heroic side of things, they just got to wake up.
Well, it really is all on the line going into Mirage. Can Complexity close out in 2, or will Heroic take it to a 3rd? Find out after this short break.